All right. I do have that. I've got the financials and I've got the agenda. Imagine that.
Awesome. We are attempting to live stream.
Oh, that's such a good thing. All right. Yeah, try to do the right thing by not printing everything out, right? Because that's not what you want to do, but so much easier sometimes. I did get an email from Dave that he would be joining us when he's available.
Virginia's in the waiting room.
And other than that, I think we'll go through roll call, but I think we have everybody else except Dave. Is that correct? As soon as Virginia's connected?
Yes, we're recording now.
We are recording officially. All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I actually have the agenda in front of me this time, so that might make things a little easier. Last time I was having a hard time finding that, but now I'm getting used to the way. So, Marcia, do you want to start with roll call, please?
Why don't you just, Nate, ask people to say here. Mr. Lewis,
Here.
Mr. Childers, Mr. Childers, Ms. Harris,
She's muted. Justin, for the record, can we just, for the record, note that we have, who is present, because we can see them present and not hear them say they're present?
That's fine. Just have them raise if they could raise their hand, just to indicate that they hear you and they're acknowledging that you're calling them for roll. Does that work?
Some are on the phone, I think.
I understand. Okay. Then that's fine. You can acknowledge they're present if you've confirmed their attendance.
Okay, and by the way, welcome.
Yeah, I was going to say that's. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
No problem. Glad to be here.
It's a different world, and I do believe by the time we get Zoom all worked out with all the kinks, we'll be ready. I hope to come back and be live, and we'll have to worry about these things.
Exactly right.
Tell if
Yep.
somebody's present or not, just looking around the room. So, anyhow, that being said, I'm sorry, Marcia, for cutting in. Jeff looks like he might have jumped in on a second line, so maybe he's able to hear us now, or we're able to hear him. Maybe not.
okay, we'll just move on. Ms. Beck,
Here.
Mr. Markey,
I'm here.
Ms. Amorine,
Here.
Ms. Baba,
Here.
Marcia Fletcher is here, Ms. Jurish,
Here.
Schrader,
Here.
Mr. Troutman.
Here.
All right, as I said earlier, I think Dave will be joining us. Jeff looks like his audio might have just connected, at least on my screen. Jeff, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
All right, so Jeff is here.
Yay.
That's a good thing. And Virginia, are you back with us? I think I heard her too. Was that a yes? Okay. All right, is that sufficient in this new world? I think we know who's here and who's not here. Second thing on the agenda is guest communications, and due to COVID-19, we are not required to do that. So I guess we'll move on to number 3, old business.
I'm not aware of any old business.
Anybody else have any old business for the floor?
Talk about buses.
Fair enough. Number 4, new business. That I bet you have some information on.
No,
None at all.
just kidding. So in anticipation of people being on here that might not have received the reports, we're going to try and share our screen. So you may not be able to see us, but you should be able to see the reports on the screen.
You're going really high tech now.
Cross your fingers. The A, PARTA finance report. It's none of those. Second one. There you go. There you go.
Yay.
It'll be the last one on the right. That one. There you go. Now sure. And hold on, it's the first one up on the left. There we go. Oh, so they can see us. Can you guys all see that?
All right. We are live.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are going to start with the PARTA finance report of revenues and expenses. You can see that we have received $14,000 in ticket sales, which is about the same as last month, a little bit more, but still below the yearly budget for the month and for the year. Agency cash grants, we're starting to receive some more, but still under budget. KSU revenue, same thing. State fuel reimbursement, we're right on budget. We've drew down $553,000 in CARES money for this month. That would have been July's expenses that we got reimbursed for. Sales tax revenue was $511,000, so still looking good. And other revenue of $6,000. So we brought in $1 million, $1.1 million. Under the expenses, all of our wages are under budget. If you are able to see over in the last column, actually, if you can scroll down, Marcia. You can see that 56.7% is what makes up the budget for salary and wages and fringe. So we're definitely under budget for that in actually all of the line items. We're slightly over budget on health insurance and slightly over the budget for the month for professional and technical. But really no surprises. Our expenses were down. For the month, we had a monthly surplus of $559,000 and year-to-date surplus of $3 million. Any questions on revenues and expenses?
I have none.
You have to stop sharing, Mike, or can you just like go to a different screen? Okay. All right, we're gonna, in a second here, we'll be popping up the capital report. All the way to the left, yep. Top left, yep.
There we go. We're all getting there.
Okay. If you scroll all the way to the top. Okay, so you can see that $559,000 carried over in August for the top top line, top row from the operating. And then for the month, we drew down funds for the support vehicles of $33,000, for maintenance equipment, $59,000. We drew down, actually both federal and state. You're going to see 5339 support vehicles, and then under 59, well, wait a minute, hold on. Support vehicles, there's two different line items for support vehicles, and that also includes the OPT2 support vehicles. It should be OPT support vehicles and maintenance equipment. It's kind of all in one line. But we drew down both the federal and state money for support vehicles and maintenance equipment. And those line items then should be completely done, actually. We drew down $587,000 for, no, that was last month, sorry, last month. Hard to follow. Well, there was two line items, 156,000, which was for the state funds, and then $16,000 for the federal funds, and then $78,000 for AVL. So in total, we drew down $352,000. In the month of August, we received an invoice for $467,000, which we've paid. I will be drawing that money down in September. And then we also paid the final invoice, $17,000 for the validator project, which is complete. Any questions on the capital report? Okay, moving on to the next report, the balance sheet. It's the next one down, statement of net position, the fifth one down. There. Okay. Statement of net position, which is formerly known as the balance sheet. We had a surplus of cash in the amount of $569,000. Receivables went up $74,000. Basically, that's a reflection of the KSU revenues from last month. And then you can see the property, plant, property, facilities, and equipment variances, which is equal to the amount on the previous report for expenses. Accounts payables also went up $258,000 from the previous month due to that $467,000 invoice for construction that at the end of the month was still outstanding, but then was paid at the beginning of September. So not a lot of changes on that report. Any questions on PARTA? Any questions on PARTA at all? Okay, moving on to Kent Central Gateway. A lot of clicking, huh? Top left. Okay, so for the Kent Central Gateway, you can see that we had a total of 5,500 cars that entered the parking garage in the month of August. This is a 48% increase from last month. If you're comparing January to August from 19 to 20, it is a decrease of 50%. in the amount of cars that are entering the gateway. You can see down on the bottom left graph, the annual revenues by source. You can see our monthly has pretty much stayed the same from 19 to 20, which has helped us basically to keep paying the bills that we're paying. And then the other graphs, the rate types collected and the money by rate types collected, that really hasn't changed a lot from month to month. It's interesting to me that the teal colored boxes, I think that's the $3 section. The pie wedges are we have more cars parked, but we get a bigger bang for the buck if you compare it to the yellow. If the yellow, that's the dollars. I just think that's interesting. And without any questions, we're ready to move to the next one. Oops. Okay, so overnight parking is at 8,000 for the month, which it did double from last month. Last month in July, it was $4,900. So we did get more hotel overnight parking. The monthly parking at 12,000, as I was just talking about. We have a new category. I labeled it the second floor revenue. We had talked about this last month. We had talked about it being called lease revenue, but technically the retail revenue is also leased revenue. So we just have retail revenue and second floor revenue. I wasn't any more creative than that. But you can see we invoiced and actually we received it in September, our first month of second floor revenue from the Kent City Health Department. So we had revenues of $27,000 that came in for the month. Our expenses are staying consistent. We had $44,000 in expenses for the month. Under contract maintenance, hold on, I know what that is, but I don't remember. Under contract maintenance, we, no, it was Pro Door for $3,000. A new door. Oh, a new, for the, okay, so we paid for a new door. We redid the bike locker area a little bit. And then we had to pay rice oil. That was for the sludge, right? For the what's it called? The separators. There's once a year we go in and we clean the drains out in the bus bag, clean out all the sludge. So that this month that happened. So that was slightly, I mean, not a lot, but it was slightly over the monthly budget. So that's kind of a timing issue. Under other services, we had the normal things with security and credit card fees and uniform fees, but nothing really that stands out to me. Oh, Silco is the sledge, right?
Silco is the sprinkler system, backflow prevention, certification, and that's it.
Sorry I didn't write those. I looked them up and then I didn't write them down. So we had to do some maintenance and some yearly services for the annual services that got done in the month of August. So overall, we had a deficit of $16,739, and then year to date is a deficit of $96,000. Any questions on the gateway? Man, you guys are so quiet today. Okay, then let's just go to the, do you have the A+ report or no? What would have been on that income one? It's the summary page of that one. You can pull that back up if you want to. Go to the summary. Just another look so you can see. Oh. Man, I'm making Marcia's fingers work, huh? And go to summary. Oh, yeah, sorry. Can you scroll up to the top? What'd you say? Okay, so just to see, the overall, you can see obviously April and May, we had very low numbers. We're getting back on track. The hotel validations are back on track. For the month of August, we did 1,049 validations. So on average, it was $8.36 per validation. The other thing to note on this report, down at the bottom, it costs us $8.03 per card, and the revenue we're getting per car is $4.70. So still kind of upside down, as you can see from the financials. And then one last report. Which will be the balance. We'll say second one to the left. Yep. So that one. There is one new thing on this report. And if you scroll down to the liabilities. There is a new line that is called refundable security deposit. So part of the lease with the city of the Kent Health Department is they paid $1,500 for a security deposit. So that will stay there. Won't change unless they move out or we get somebody else in the same situation. So we have a new category in our liabilities for security deposit. We've never had that before. Nothing else really changed on this report. All right, any questions overall? Oh, Mike, unmute.
I do that occasionally, so I don't have to hear the background noise, but sometimes my voice is the background noise. So what I was saying is from month to month, things are very similar. PARTA still is doing pretty well and turning some money and taking care of business as, I won't say normal, but in a good manner. And we've got the parking garage that's actually making movement in the right direction with activity. So there's not a lot that's, at least from my review, not a lot that was unexpected. But the explanation is always good to hear as we go through everything. And thank you for that part. Is there any questions on anything that was covered on any of the reports at this time? Okay. I don't know if anything else is needed on any other new business, Rebecca?
Yes, there was a memo.
Yeah,
We're going to turn it over to Claudia for a minute.
This is on the resolution, Claudia?
yes. So just this morning, Mike, I sent a memo to you and a few of the committee members, I believe, requesting to add a resolution to the agenda for this meeting and for the board meeting. And this is to rescind the August resolution that the board passed for us to authorize us to purchase 3 CNG buses from Tesco. We talked extensively about our plan and our long-term plan for buses and how we keep them in a state of good repair. And after the board passed the resolution that we requested, we learned within a few days that El Dorado National, which is the manufacturer of the bus, had reduced its working capacity to about 40%. We've talked about that Los Angeles order that bumped us out to a 24-month build. That was a 450 bus build that we have been maneuvering around for a couple of years now. Well, apparently Los Angeles suspended that order and due to COVID. And so El Dorado had ramped up their workforce to be able to meet that order. And now that order is in suspension and they've reduced their workforce. So there's a delay on our receiving the 4 clean diesel buses that we ordered in January of 2020. We know that'll be at least a build date through March, where it was supposed to be done this November. And they can't commit to even when they'll be starting to slot buses, new orders for buses. So given all of that, Brian was gone for 2 weeks, so we just had the opportunity to talk through it all yesterday about how to proceed, whether to put the order in through Tesco as our last buses on that 5-year contract, or go ahead and issue a new RFP for a bus contract earlier than we had planned to do. And after kicking it back and forth and evaluating all the pros and cons, we decided that the best approach would be to work through the details of the RFP, rewriting the specs and including some COVID type equipment that we, of course, had no idea we would need it back 5 years ago, and then issue that RFP in January of 2021, and then not order the buses in September that we thought we were going to order. So for record keeping, the cleanest way to do this so that we don't get tangled up in which resolution authorized which bus purchase is to rescind the 2020-08-01 resolution that you kindly passed at our request last month. And we will then attach that to the purchase order that was generated to place the order. And we will come back to you in the springtime after we've issued the RFP and evaluated the bidders and come up with the most responsive and responsible. So we will come back with the same request to order those buses. And if there any other funding is acquired in between now and then, possibly another, but this is the cleanest way to just wrap that up and staple it together and put the file away and start over.
Okay. I don't know if any other discussions needed on this at this point. But I guess do we have a vote then to recommend to the board? Is that how that would normally work on this rescind? Or is it just recommended from Finance Committee?
I think the Finance Committee would recommend it to the board. Last month, the Operations Committee also discussed it, but because Finance was meeting and it's a resolution to not spend money and rather than to spend money, I don't think there's a need to push it through another committee. It's simply a housekeeping matter that things change every day and the best laid plans sometimes don't work out. So we'll adjust and issue a new RFP and move on from there.
Okay, fair enough. Then I guess what my question would be, we need a motion then for recommending the resolution to the board. Anybody? All right, Claudia, let's back up. Is a motion needed then?
Justin?
Yeah, you'd want to have a motion to recommend in a vote. Hopefully we can get people to unmute to make those.
All right, so I will again ask for a motion to recommend to the board the resolution that is in front of us. I cannot move it myself. If someone would be kind enough.
Mike, I'm pretty sure I can't do it because I'm not really on the committee.
I understand, Karen. Thank you, though. Virginia and Jeff, I think would be the two. Unless I'm missing something, please let me know. And they could be having audio issue. I know Virginia's been, or someone's been helping Virginia throughout the meeting. The fun parts of technology. Virginia, is there any way you could come on to the video and just raise your hand for the motion? If you can even hear us.
Yeah, I would say given the technology issues, unless there's issues raised by committee members after the meeting by email, let's just assume that this is going to be a recommendation coming from Finance Committee to the full board for its, and then any member of the Finance Committee at the board meeting can speak at that time
Thank
if
you.
there's issues.
I appreciate that, and I would
Yeah.
agree with that unless Claudia has any reason. And if hearing none,
No, I agree. I agree. Thank you, Justin.
we
Yep.
definitely had issues with audio and video, so we'll move it to the board, and the Finance Committee will have any, if they have anything to mention at that point, they can, or they can jump in and approve it at that point with the rest of the board. All right, so thank you very much for that, and thanks for working with us as we have some issues with technology. So I was not made aware of any other resolutions other than that one.
That's
And
correct. That's
thank you. And I also was not made aware of any need for an executive session. However, I will ask if there is a need at this point.
no, there is not.
Okay, thank you, Claudia. And I hate to do this, but I'm going to ask for a motion for adjournment at this point. And if I hear nothing in the next couple seconds, I'm going to assume that we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting with a nod from Justin, and that's good. So,
Yep.
All right, then we'll consider the meeting adjourned. I thank you all for attending today. Look forward to seeing everybody in this virtual world we're living in on Thursday. Justin, thanks for joining us. Karen, also, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. And Parta, thank you for the great job you're doing, as you always do, making a job easier for us. So we'll see everybody Thursday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a great day.
Hey, before you end Zoom, don't end Zoom. When you share your screen, try sharing your screen again, because I didn't think you had to stop sharing and reshare.
Well, I get a notice up here to stop.
Oh, does it?
It asked me to stop sharing.
When you want to just go to a different screen or different,
I mean, it'll come up there, but then it's not sharing.
but go to your share screen. Right, she ended it.
Live streaming we are.
Oh, but we're not on YouTube, the recording's ended.
Oh, you're still live streaming. Yeah, we're still live streaming. We're not.
Oh,